Hey everyone, happy Thursday. My name is Andrea Owen and I am back at ya today doing another weekly live Facebook video as I've been doing over the last, I think it's been over like most of 2017 now. And usually I'm here talking about my other book and bringing you a chapter a week and how it revolves around personal development. And lately I've been talking to you about different topics around my new book, which comes out January 2nd, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And today, it's right before the holidays, and I was thinking about what I am going to talk to you today. I've been doing a lot of interviews around this book, and there's a question that has come up a couple of times, and that question is, what does change actually look like? So that's one part of what I'm going to talk about today. And the other thing that has been coming up is I'm actually in an alumni group, and hi Heidi, thank you for ordering your copy. I have an alumni group for anyone who's been in one of my classes at Your Kick-Ass Life, and I'm about to do a video over in that group, and I always ask for questions, and one of the questions I got was about holidays and how to say no when you really want to say yes, and how to not feel so much pressure around it and things like that. And it got me thinking about change. And the women in that particular group have been through my courses and they listen to my podcasts. And so they are well versed in personal development and have a lot of tools. And so that's what really got me thinking. What does change actually look like? What do we do when we have setbacks and, stuff happens and we aren't using our tools and just kind of are like, what do I do? And so here's what I want to say about all of those things. So I took some notes earlier. I was like frantically typing on my phone. And I think that this might be a myth or a misconception about personal development. So y'all tell me. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to ask you. So pop in your favorite emoji. I'm so excited that there's a bunch of new emojis now, and I always want to know what your favorite emoji is. What is the one? I forget, last week yours was a pineapple. Someone showed me the cartwheel emoji. There's so many great and new exciting ones. My favorite is the head explosion. I do use the eye roll one a lot. That is probably embarrassingly the one I use the most. But while you're typing in your favorite emoji, and of course ask any questions that you have, and I'll be sure to grab those at the end of the video. But while you're doing that, I want to circle back to this particular topic. And here's what I think the biggest myth and misconception is. Maybe people think, and maybe I was like this too in the beginning of my personal development journey, or when I had jumped in, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Do you feel like, okay, if I set boundaries, or if I do something like practice self-compassion, or if I do something that is in alignment with my values. So say for instance, you have a value around honesty and integrity, and you're like, okay, well, if I actually have a conversation that is a difficult conversation, but one that is honoring my value around honesty and integrity, maybe speaking up for yourself at work, or I don't know, any kind of hard conversation. If I do one of those things, then it will feel really good. Then it should be fairly easy, right? And I'm like, no. And I'm sorry if I've ever implied that it's going to be easy and feel good and be super kick-ass. The truth of it is, y'all, is that these things, honoring your values, even though they are in alignment with who you want to be, practicing self-compassion, setting boundaries, all of these things that I and my colleagues talk about all the time, things that are involved in living your kick-ass life, these things are awkward. These things are messy. These things are scary. And so the reason that I am like going off about it right now is because I don't want you to not do them, because you start going in and realize like, oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. Or I thought this was going to totally kick ass, and it's definitely not. Or I thought, positive self-talk and self-compassion was going to be a little less uncomfortable or sound a little less awkward, and it feels really ingenuine, actually. Yeah, that's what it is. The fact of it is, we have been operating a different way for a very long time. So we get used to people pleasing. We get used to having poor boundaries. We get used to doing things that are actually out of alignment of our values. And it's not because it's the right thing to do. It's just because we have been doing it for decades. we as humans are we're very adaptable. We get used to things fairly quickly. I mean, have you ever been in a house that stinks really bad? And like, what is it? I think after like 4 minutes, your brain actually adapts to it, and that particular sense just gets used to it, and you just don't smell it anymore. I believe it's the same for things like trash talking in your head, for not being able to speak up for yourself, et cetera, all of these things. So I just am here to say today, change is not perfect and beautiful and linear and kick-ass and all of these things that you might make up that it is. What is amazing and beautiful and just awesome all around is what is on the other side. You have to get through it. You have to get through those awkward conversations. You have to get through that boundary setting and possibly having somebody give you some pushback. You have to get through the awkwardness of practicing self-compassion. I like to use the analogy of, or actually it's more of a story. I between high school and college, I took probably 4 or more years of Spanish. You know, all the complicated verb conjugations, all the vocabulary, all of it, the oral exams with my teacher, and you know, got a pretty good handle on it. I don't think I was ever fluent, but also it's my mother's first language. It's the language I grew up hearing. She still talks to all of her sisters in Spanish. It's a language that I have heard a lot of and spent a lot of classroom time in. So, you know, it's been a long time since I've graduated from college, and I have not practiced it. There's like one Mexican restaurant here where we go to, and I order my food in Spanish, and then they start talking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. It's because I don't practice it. I don't practice that language. It is the same with personal development. If you don't practice setting boundaries and saying no, you know, in a kind and honest way, if you don't practice having positive self-talk or being kind to yourself, you're not going to know how to do it. It's going to go away. You're going to do this face when you're asked to set a boundary or have a hard conversation. It's the same thing. And the thing is once you do it a lot, once you practice, you become more fluent in it. You become more fluent in setting those boundaries, honoring those values, having self-compassion, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that what I see a lot is perfectionism in personal development, as well as impatience. We want things now. If our internet browser doesn't load in faster than 3 seconds, we're out. I mean, I'm guilty of that too. It's like, this website's taken too long. Like, I don't have the time for this. And it's been like literally 3 seconds. So, but this is your life we're talking about. We're not talking about a browser. We're talking about your life. We're talking about what's important about the way that you live your life. So let's all have some patience. Let's all have, you know, show yourself the dignity of giving it time to change. Give yourself time. Honor that. And I have used up all my energy with that. But I know your time is precious, and I'm going to close with that. I'm going to jump over to the comments in just a second. This baby is in bookstores on January 2nd, y'all. I know so many of you have pre-ordered a copy, and that means so very much to me. It will be in the front tables of Barnes & Nobles on January 2nd, so that's very exciting. I can't get a good shot of it. But I will pop the link to pre-order this right now online, and I'm also doing a free book study. It starts on January 22nd, and it's for anyone who's ordered the book. It will be available on audiobook. I recorded it, so that's really great, I think, if you like the sound of my voice, I guess. And of course on e-reader and hard copy. And that's all you need to join the group. All you need is a copy of the book. That will be on that same page. All you do is click on claim bonuses once you have the book, and you'll enter the information, and voila, you can sign up, and I will see you there on January 2nd. It's 4 weeks long. It's all online. We are going to go through chapter by chapter of this book so you can practice change and be uncomfortable and be awkward. Let's all be awkward and uncomfortable together. Yay, in the new year. So I am going to jump on over and see if anybody has any questions. I don't know why it doesn't let me scroll, although I guess it did. Okay, so Kelly Bernadette. What a great name, Kelly Bernadette. I don't know if I'd be able just to call you Kelly. I would just call you Kelly Bernadette all the time. So I just had a conversation with girlfriends lately about how I'm so tired of feeling like shit. It looks like I need to read your book. Yeah, check out the table of contents, Kelly, and see if any of those behaviors resonate with you that I'm talking about in that book. I love all these emojis. Look at the rocket. Oh, you guys, look at all these creative emojis. There's a couple of you that did the one with the big eye and the little eye. That's a really interesting one. And someone speaking Spanish. Thank you, Di. Thank you very much. Practice speaking Spanish. See, I can understand what you actually says. And I did not click on the button that says see translation. And yes, Angie. Hey, Angie. Even if you order the book on Amazon, of course. Yes. All you have to do is go to that link. I will pop it in. It's yourkickasslife.com/HTSFLS. It's an acronym for the book, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And then you can sign up there. So Henry Barfield, peace from Chicago. Hey, I'm coming to Chicago. You guys, I'm also going on a book tour. I'm starting on January 6th. I'm going to be in Brooklyn. Then I go to Chicago. I'll be in Chicago on January 12th. Fingers crossed I get all these dates right. Then I'm going to San Diego. I'll be there on January 19th. Then Portland, January 22nd. Then I come to Greensboro, January 25th. And then I'm going to Vienna, Virginia, January 31st. It's going to be a busy January for Andrea. And I hope to see you in any of those cities. All of those events are also on that page, yourkickasslife.com/HTSFLS, if you missed it. And you can find out what bookstore it will be at. And I would love to be able to see you there and give you a hug and take a picture and sign your book and do a little dance or whatever we're going to do. I'm just really excited to see everybody. So thank you for joining me. I'm here every Thursday. Well, not every Thursday. Every once in a while I have to miss, but you'll see it on the page if I'm not going to be there at noon Eastern time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Here's to changing your life and having patience and living your kick-ass life. Thank you. Bye.